My laundry room is messy, has no cabinet doors, who knows why, and no place to set things after you're done with the wash. So I decided with just some scrap wood and buying a couple of extra things to redo the entire room. Here's how it is before, and now here's how it is today. Quite good. So to start with, what I did is just outlined a basic plan, kind of just dreaming of how I'd like this to be, and that includes making raised panel cabinet doors, making a dog food pull-out drawer, complete with a treat section, and then also a table that goes over the top of the washer and dryer. So I don't have raised panel bits for my router table. Instead, I made a jig, and this jig goes over the fence of my table saw, clamps on to the panel that I'm going to make raised, and then I take the blade to a 15-degree angle and probably about 1/4 of an inch away from the fence. So that's going to make a nice raised panel edge, and I do it on all 4 sides. It's pretty easy. So first what I do is go ahead and put on my safety protection, of course, which includes goggles and a mask, and of course ear protection as well. I then clamp the jig to the panel that I'm going to cut, both front and back. And I check to make sure that everything is nice and tight, but not too tight so that it doesn't move. Looks good to me. I've done all 4 sides. So now what I'm going to do is hold it up to the rails and see how that fits together. I'll have the shorter rails up top and bottom, and then the stiles will go lengthwise down the sides. It'll all be pocket holed together, and I'll take the edges through my router so that they have a nice detailed decorative effect. I have to use the Kreg mini jig for the raised panels because if I use the regular jig, it doesn't have a height adjustment that's low enough where it's not going to poke through the panel. So I just clamp it to there. I had to just do trial and error with that, but I could do regular pocket holing on the rest. I mark my spots and make all the holes that I need to make. So here's what it looks like so far with all the holes. Here's the stile being in place and being marked for pocket holes. And then I start to put it all together. It's taking shape. So here's the door to the pull-out drawer of the dog food bin. I've already done the cabinet fronts, but it's the same process, just as single raised panels. What I'm going to do is take it through the router to give that decorative edge, but I'm going to do it all as a whole so that I have nice even edges rather than doing the rail and stile separately before putting it together. My husband got me a router for Christmas, and I made a router table to fit it into so that I could do more precise routing. This thing is awesome. I made a table and a clamp in the back and the insert for the router bit, and I can do everything pretty accurately with this table. I even made a vacuum port in the back so that I can keep things pretty clean. It's awesome. Looks nice. Smooth edge. Next I began making the enclosure for the pull-out drawer. And this is just basically making it up as I go, taking measurements and finding out what works. These are 2x2s and 1x2s. And then in the meantime, I go into the laundry room and put on the cabinet doors, and they look amazing. I'm very happy with how they turned out. With the enclosure, I've put on sides so that the runner at the bottom just has something to keep it in line. Since it's on caster wheels, it has a tendency to move about. I did put pocket holes in so that it would be ready to attach to the door front. I'm putting a spacer bar down at the bottom so that when I attach the front to the roller, it's not going to hit the ground while it's sliding back and forth. It just raises it off the ground to keep it in the right place. So I take the nail gun and do a temporary attachment so that it stays in place while I screw it to the front. So now I'm just going to attach the front to the roller, and I think I used 1 1/4 screws for this to make sure it didn't come through the panel. And do that in all of the holes that were previously made, and check to make sure that it's nice and secure. Now, upon looking at this and trying it out, I decided that I needed more support. It really was just too flimsy because it was too tall. So what I ended up doing was putting rails at the sides that attached to the bottom, and that made it into one more solid unit and gave it more support. You can kind of see from the back here. And then I also put in a holder for the dog treats and then went and tried it out in the laundry room. You can see the rails there a little better. And it worked well. The pretty handle on the front. I always like to dry fit things to make sure that they work. Then I painted it all and put it in place and installed it. Here's some beauty shots. Now I'm getting ready to paint everything, which is my least favorite part of the process. It's long and tedious, but looks so much better after you're done. One coat is done and the room is really shaping up. I can start to see what it's going to look like in the end. So I'm only going to do 2 coats. That's all it needs. That took me 2 days though, and the whole thing will be done. In the meantime, I got some dollar store baskets to keep things organized inside the cabinets. And here's the final product. That's a Jack photobomb. Looks great. Beautiful. And just for a comparison, here's what it looked like before and after. Much better, I would say.
And now we'll show who we did this for. Lily, you want to see your compartment? Slide it out. Here's your food. And guess what's up here? Guess what's up here? Treats. You want a treat? Oh, look who's interested now. This is the treat box. Let's get you some treats. I think they approve. Good boy.